Hi, my name is Freya, welcome to my kitchen. So the meal that we're going to be making today in just 10 minutes and for under £2 is homemade pizza. And this is a great meal because you can make it vegetarian, you can make it meat, and you can really cook it with whatever vegetables you've got left in your fridge at the time. So it's a great one if you sort of have run out of all your food in your house and you have like the odd bits of things, you can throw them together and make a delicious meal. So the first thing that you need to do is preheat the oven to either 200 or 220 degrees and just let that heat up while we make our pizza dough. So the ingredients I'll be using today so we've got cherry tomatoes, we've got wild rocket, which tastes delicious if you put it on top. It makes the pizza really fresh, very summery. We've got some peppers, obviously we're not going to use all three, but some peppers chopped up on it. We've got some onions, and then these are the essential ingredients. So this is great to have just in your cupboard. This is Morrison's own pizza base mix, which literally has got all the flour and everything weighed out, and you just chuck it in with 100 millilitres even of warm water and mix it up, and then you've got that ready. So it's a good one to have in your cupboards. And this is the second essential ingredient to have in your cupboards already ready. This is tomato puree. This will make the lovely tomato sauce on top. You can get a real pizza tomato sauce. To be honest, they work just the same. This one was only £1 from Lidl as well. So this is just to tell you a little bit, I've said that this meal only costs £2, but just to break those prices down for you. So you've got the pizza base mix, that was, I think it was 59p from Morrisons, so that's 60 pence there, out of your £2. Then you've got the tomato paste, that was £1 from Lidl, but you're only going to use about a third of it. So that's actually only 30p, and you can just bung that in the fridge and you can keep it for up to maybe 3 or 4 weeks. Which is great, so you can keep that. So that's 30 pence on the tomato paste. And then you've just got your vegetables. So depends how many you use really. I used a pepper, which I think for just one is again about 30p. One onion, again about 20 or 30p. And then I used one slice of ham or a little bit of rocket is what I used. Again, that's only about 20 pence. So altogether, per portion, it's £2. So the first thing we're going to do, now we've preheated the oven, is make the pizza base. And we do this first just so that it has a little bit of time for the dough to sit before we cover it in things. So we've got our mixture already, and here in the jug we've got 100 millilitres of warm water. Just a lukewarm water, you don't want it to be too warm or it's not going to rise very well. And literally, so it does have the amount on the back if you forget that. And literally you just tip it in. Now all this pizza mix is the flour and the yeast that you can make. So you can make it from scratch if you want to with just a little bit of olive oil, but just tip it all in there. Getting all of it in. And I do add just a little bit of olive oil just to give it a little bit of extra flavour, and it helps it rise a bit. And then we mix it together. So as you can see, it's making a lovely gloopy dough. And do have some flour ready. You might need a tiny dusting of flour if it looks like the mix is too sticky, and you might need it to dust the table for when we need it later on. So yeah, as you can see, my mix is just a little bit sticky. You can see there. So I'm not going to be able to knead that very successfully, so I'm going to add a little bit of plain flour. And mix it up again. And pop it in a bowl. And this is the bit where you get your hands in. And just really mix it very thoroughly, like you would if you were making bread or anything like that. Your hands are going to get sticky, but if the dough is actually sticking to them too much like this, just grab a bit more flour. The key thing really is to, if it looks too dry, don't add a lot more water, because you can always add more flour to a pizza mix you can't really add more water. You just add more flour and more water and more flour and more water. It's going to get very, very tough and it's not going to be that lovely soft bread dough that you really want. So this should only take about 3 or 4 minutes maximum, really. It might take a bit longer if it's the first time of doing it, but really you get to do it so you can make it in 2 minutes. And I don't know if you can see what I'm kneading, so I'm just going to knead it on here for a minute so that you can see what I'm doing. So I'm using this bit and this bit of my hand. There we go. So when your dough is looking good, nice healthy dough, it's going to be this beautiful fresh bread colour, and it should be slightly sticky still. It should be very malleable, and if you push your finger in, it should bounce back. I don't know if you can see that. Let me see. Can you see it bounces back? Not all of the way, but you can see it visibly. Okay, so now we've got the dough waiting and we're going to chop some vegetables. So the vegetables I'm using are cherry tomatoes, they are peppers and they are onions. And I think I'm going to use this lovely yellow pepper just because it's going to make it really colourful. So we're just going to want to chop it into thin slices, not super thin, but we're just going to want nice slices on our pizza. That's another great thing about this meal, is that you end up eating pizza and having 3 portions of vegetables at the same time. So, and now just a few tomatoes. These just need to be cut in half. Okay, that's done, and now the onions. And you can see exactly how quick. This is just taking me no time at all. And again, just in slices, very rough. There we go, and that's our vegetables chopped. So all we have to do now is roll out the dough and then we'll chuck these out. So this is my baking tray. Mine's rectangular and I don't have a round one, so I'm going to be making a rectangular pizza. It really doesn't matter that much anyway, it's going to taste exactly the same, and just use whatever you have. I'm never going to tell you to shove something in the food processor or put it in the blender anyway, because you might not have one, and when chefs say that, it's just very frustrating, really, if you don't have one. So yeah, just use whatever tray you've got, and put a bit of flour on, just sprinkle a bit of flour on, just to stop the pizza from sticking to the tray. There we go. And flour up your table or work surface a bit. There we go. Now we're going to get our dough, which should be feeling nice. And the real test for how good dough is how elastic it is. So how much it can stretch without breaking. It should be able to stretch like this. Okay, I'm going to put it on the floured surface. You might need to add a little bit of flour to your hands as well, just to stop them getting quite so very sticky. There we go. And now I'm going to do the same thing with the kneading. The kneading is really important. You might not think it is, because it doesn't look important, but A, it's fun to do, and B, it really just makes that dough beautifully soft and nice and light and fluffy when it cooks. So you can see I'm pushing it forward with this bit of the hand here, and then turn it over forward with that bit, that bit, that bit. Okay, and you want to do this for, gosh, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. The longer you do it, and the more delicious your dough is going to taste, but this is only a meal that we're chucking together in 10 minutes, so. There we go, that's feeling good now. Nice and soft, nice and squishy, ready to make into pizza. Okay, so as a student, I don't have a lot of equipment, as I've already mentioned, and I need something to roll out my dough. So I'm going to use a wine bottle. These are great. You can actually, if you have an empty one, you can fill it with water and use that if you don't have a rolling pin. And they're nice and heavy, so it's got that weight. Also, the coldness is actually really nice for the dough. So I'm actually going to cover this in a bit of flour so that it doesn't stick. I'll wash it afterwards. And then just roll it out very basically. as thin as you like. If you like it thin and crusty, then do that. I'm going to try and roll mine into a rectangle shape to match my tray. Here we go. It's looking beautiful, I've got to say, this dough. I've got a nice flexible thing. Just pop it on my tray. Then just pull it out with my fingers a little bit so that it fills most of the tray. It's like that. Okay, and now the next stage is to put some tomato puree on it. So I will just literally squidge on. Be as generous or as not generous as you like, depending on how much you like tomato sauce. That's actually enough for me. I'm going to spread that out. Colours are just so beautiful with this. You have this gorgeous creamy dough colour and then this beautiful red. Beautiful. And now we just add the vegetables. So I'm going to start off with some onions. And I'm so slapdash with this, just chuck them on wherever. I don't mind. It's just, doesn't have to be neat, it doesn't have to be pretty. And now I'm going to just chuck on some peppers. Get some nice yellow colours in there. Try and fill up all the gaps, because these are going to cook and get nice and crispy in the oven. So it's nice if you don't lay too many things on top of each other, otherwise you're going to end up with the things on the bottom going to stay raw. It might look a little bit bare now, but that's because afterwards we're going to add on either some rocket if you want to, or some ham if you want to. But that's what it looks like. We're going to put a drizzle of olive oil on it. There you go. Sprinkling of salt. Then we're going to chuck it in the oven for about 15 or 20 minutes. Definitely check it after 10 minutes though, because it depends how hot your oven gets. And yeah, on about 200 degrees. So now we've got this delicious looking pizza, which just looks so scrumptious and smells so good. And we're just going to put a couple of garnishes on top to make it look extra scrummy. So we're going to put some rocket actually. And this is already pre-washed, so it literally could not be easier. I'm just going to sprinkle that. Now you can just put the rocket, or you can add some chopped up ham at this point, or chopped up bacon, or chopped up chicken, or pineapple, whatever floats your boat. I'm going to do a vegetarian one today, and then we're going to plate it up. So there we have it, scrumptiously looking delicious homemade pizza. So yeah, I hope that helps you make it at home. And please do let me know in the comments below if you want to learn how to make anything else, or if you have any questions about how to make it, that's fine. And this just looks so delicious now that I'm actually going to go away and eat some. So yeah. Oh my god, it's so good. It's actually delicious. I'm going to go and eat this now, so thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.